Mondays, money. Those who follow me on Facebook might be wondering where the fuck I disappeared to. I'm around. I was just having technical difficulties. All of the content in between my last vlog and now is up on YouTube as per normal. Sometimes Facebook likes to act amok like a jealous girlfriend begging for my attention. So hopefully I've resolved that problem and I'm back triple streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thus far, I've yet to shout out those on Twitch because I've honestly invested more of my efforts on YouTube and Facebook. But Twitch, I'm there too, and if you're following along, I hope you enjoy. And even if you don't, I'm still gonna be here. That's me. So, we are back to normal coins this week, I think, depending on how well I manage my time. Thanks again to a friend for gifting many of these coins. I try my best to credit my friend when possible. To be completely honest, assume that most of what I present on Money Mondays, a good 75%, has been gifted. The rest, 25%, is my own from before. So we'll start today with a stamp, because I have shown stamps from different countries, different packages. Where's this stamp from? E-I-R-E. I'll hint ya. Cover that up. And that should be better. This stamp is actually from Ireland. And without the Googles, I'm trying to see the sword. The only thing that I can think is that the sword has obviously been covered by this sticker here. Am I gonna try to actually lift the sticker to show the sword? Yes, I will. Because this is my vlog and this is what I feel like doing. Oh. Okay, actually, it is what it is. I thought they stuck something here to cover the blade of the sword, but actually it's one continuous sticker stamp. Or is it? Yeah, it's one continuous sticker stamp. Okay, so I imagined this Balandary sword from the mid-9th century probably extends something like this. The stamp is conveniently cut off the decorative holding end. I'm guessing the sword also doubles as a hoe. The practical hoe. I'll also open a package before I continue with coins. Or should I continue with coins? I'll open this package. Because it's the easy type, the lift sticky. The lift sticky is what it is. Just as an update to the defaced coin series last week, 2 weeks ago, the Defaced Coin series was rudely interrupted by a number of technical difficulties from Wi-Fi, apps, and such. So I've decided to take a break, but the Defaced Coins are in the background as decoration, just like leaves from fall. Okay. This envelope is stickier than normal, but I'll still manage. Yeah, there we go. All it is one extremely sticky part. Come on. 2 extremely sticky parts. The reason why I largely like to keep things intact is because the packaging also provides a nice holding place temporarily while I fix up and develop my at-home museum. Okay, things are slipping. Okay, here we go. This is in 2 packages, so I will maybe open up one and take it out. Oh, how is this? This has been internally flipped. Or am I going to open it up? Yes, I will. Except for the fact that this pouch is really tight, like my vagina. Come on. It is really tight like my vagina. Ugh, Jesus. Are we gonna continue? Or are we gonna show the coin? You know what? I'm gonna show the coin first. If I'm still having problems, then we'll open up. Okay, I figured it out. You just have to be gentle and slide. I was trying to brute force it like some aggro dude. Okay. How's the lighting on this? Is it too dark now? Is it too dark? There we go. My body was covering up the light. Going back in time, we are to the 19th century, 1888 to be exact. We have 1 cent with someone on the back. Victoria. But 88. Victoria should be Victoria before Victoria? I mean, is Queen Victoria that old? This is a Canadian coin, by the way. Now, I'm going to hold the coin like this for a clean view. Yes, I left my currency gloves somewhere else today because usually coins are tougher and this one is circulated. But I think that currency gloves are good for any currency, even circulated coins, because your grubby, smudgy hands actually do devalue things. For example, a couple of YouTubers opened some mint condition Pokemon cards with their bare hands, and I almost shrieked in horror, just like one of my families shrieked in horror at my grubster hands touching any of the coins or currency that I have. Okay. This is the other side. I'm trying to determine whether Queen Victoria was alive in 1888. I mean, I know she's old, but is she over 100 years old? In any case, back she goes into the little pouch. And into the other little pouch. Oh, yeah. Alrighty. There we go. It actually fits perfectly if you're gentle with it. We have a couple more olden day coins. That are luckily wrapped up in protective tape that I'm going to leave them in for now. This is 1 penny from years 1896 and 1908. Is that visible from the camera? Yes, can be. So again, we have references to a Victoria. I'll be real with you, Western history goes in one ear and out the other ear for me a lot of the times. It's something I probably should know. Was our current Queen Victoria alive in the 19th century? 18 somethings? 1896. I know she's essentially an immortal vampire, but I think 1896 is really pushing it. 1896 means 1996 would have been 100. 124 years old. I think it's someone else. But obviously related to the current Queen Victoria. Because as we know, royalty is an incestuous affair. Sometime, a long fucking time ago, someone decided that they were royal. Because they said so, and back then, dummies just listened. Because they did. But what makes someone royal? Aside from bloodlines. And that's the most ridiculous hocus pocus I've ever heard. But, hey. Okay. Here we have some more currency from mostly Europe, I think. Trying to figure out. I'm having trouble IDing some because I'm having trouble reading. Okay. From left to right. Or from right to left, depending on how we do this. How does this show up? How are we gonna do this? Okay, we're gonna go from here, this one here. Is from Belgium, so Belgium. So this looks to be a pre-Euro coin from Belgium. Because of the timing of the day and the season, I have to be careful of how I position the coins, because certain positions I obscure the coin details. Second one, next to it, we should know from the stamp, EIRE, which is Ireland. This one's recent-ish, 1978. Oh, did I skip one? Oh, yeah, I'm cool. I'm good. Just going back to the Belgium for a second. This one was 1980, although the script is so tiny that I can barely see it. Ireland coined as a 2p. Next to that one, in the smack dab middle, is a mark. From 1970. I've often shown pre-Euro coins because they're interesting. Next to that one is another Belgian coin from 1986. 5F. Okay, the back is almost totaled, so that's what that looks like. And the final one is one of our favorite countries, Germany. I've gone in depth on the Pfennigs before. I've even showed some Nazi Hitler era coins. This Pfennig is from 92. Okay, we've got a couple of more coins in here. That are from Asia now. Thailand and Singapore. Thailand, and Thailand. Singapore, and Singapore. Since I'm showing some Thai coins, I have an update on adventure travel. Thailand used to be a backpacker's paradise. In fact, Koh Phi Phi, which is the island of Phi Phi, was the backdrop, gorgeous and magnificent, to Leonardo DiCaprio's The Beach. What we might have to contend with when travel, adventure travel, and all other forms returns is new restrictions that require one to demonstrate a minimum threshold of money in their bank account. Thailand, from what I recall, had, at least over the summertime, a couple $1,000 or more requirement for a bank account. And here's part of the problem about revealing this kind of information as a traveler. First of all, you have to have that money, and some people lack that money, even if they're from the West. Second, that means that as a traveler, you traveling to countries now, especially ones that have these currency minimum net worth requirements, means that if you're in the country, people essentially know at the very least how much you're worth. That means you have to be worth at the very least as much as the threshold implies. So I've been discussing with some people, other travel experts, and we've considered whether the risk of extortion and kidnap greatly increases even in countries that were relatively safe. The last I checked, the statistics were pretty much the world economy's been decimated. Travel, tourism, and hospitality in particular. 1 in every 10, so 10% of people were working in those industries pre-pandemic. And if those industries have been decimated, who knows what's going to happen when tourists return? If you're in countries that are economically depressed, some of them, especially if they also have religious fundamentalism, have become dangerous places with kidnapping risk, terrorism risk, and others. I think that post-pandemic, those risks could possibly increase, because now you have populations that are even more desperate. And part of the reason why people turn to things like crime and kidnapping is because that's one way they can afford things for their families. So it's a difficult question to ask, when are we going to be returning to adventure travel? Because I think that adventure travel itself was already rife full of risks. That much I can admit. Post-pandemic, when you've just magnified all of the pre-existing risks, I just think the risk does become higher. Now, obviously, in places that were already problematic, what we call the West Central Africa, Middle East regions, probably are going to stay as dangerous as they already are, plus then some. But what I'm thinking is that even mid-tier risk countries in the developing world could become much riskier than people are able to tolerate. By people, I'm wondering if that includes me. Obviously, as an adventure traveler from before, I already have a high risk tolerance, but obviously risk tolerance is something that changes with the times, with the circumstances, and I've yet to have an answer to that question. I wish I had one for myself at least, but it's something that I'm actively thinking about. These are all circulated coins, and sometimes I want to just be able to touch things with my hands. Because in today's pandemic, paranoia world, I just freak out too easily over everything, so fuck it, I'm touching them. If I can find an interesting one in this pouch of random grab bag coins, I will show one. For example, here's an Australian coin. With an elaborate leaf pattern. I was trying to determine whether it was an animal or a plant, but it is indeed an animal. I mean a plant. Ah. Ooh, Australia, 76. Oh. I've actually read some trade reports about adventure travel, and I disagree with some of their conclusions. Particularly, they think that adventure travel is uniquely placed to recover quickly post-pandemic, but I disagree with that. Panama. I disagree because I think adventure traveling was already very precarious if I was going to be realistic looking back. These trade reports admitted that they knew probably consumers would be requiring more in terms of health and hygiene, but I think that's where the problem lies. In adventure travel, that's always been a touch and go issue. Yes, I am dirtier than norm, but if you've ever been on an adventure travel trip, you'll know that amongst adventure travelers, I'm probably still within reason, so I just think the nature of it is going to make it very difficult to come back from.